Despite all the odds, South Africa's citrus growers continue to shine. They shipped off more than 160 million cartons of local citrus across the world this year, an increase from the year before. And the Citrus Growers Association says the sector did all this while struggling with our poor-performing port terminals, the global shipping crisis, and strict new EU export rules. All in all, our agriculture economy has reaped the rewards despite the pandemic. We've previously reported how the sector actually grew by 15% during the hard lockdown, with government and economists saying that that's thanks to some excellent grain and citrus harvests in 2020. Wandile Sihlobo is a chief economist with the Agricultural Business Chamber of South Africa. He joins us live now from Pretoria. Wandile, thanks a lot for your time. So the Citrus Growers Association saying that this industry is going to grow to shipping about 200 million cartons in the next 5 years. And it looks like we're well on the way there. It's brilliant news.
Yeah, indeed. It's brilliant news. And the nice thing about it is that this is all the trees that are already on the ground. So it's not the increase that is expected out of something that is yet to be planted, but it's investment that is already on the ground. So I think that could materialize, of course, weather conditions permitting and also logistics permitting. But I think the other important thing is that we are seeing this good improvement, not only in the citrus industry, but really across the agricultural sector. You look at the deciduous fruits, you look at across the field crops, and to an extent, even in the livestock sector, we see some bit of good momentum in South Africa's agricultural sector. Yes, the weather conditions that have been favorable are part of that in the near term, but I think there's been just the long-term investment that the players in the sector have been making over the past few years, and all of that is paying off at this moment.
Wandile, the demand for South African produce seems to be huge at the moment. What's driving that demand, and are there any big sectors that we are yet to start supplying?
Indeed. I mean, we are an export-orientated agricultural sector. I mean, we're exporting now nearly half of what we produce in value terms in our agriculture. What's at the top in the world, where people are really buying large part of it, is the fruit sector is driving that, and combined with wine. But what we are seeing also joining the ladder on the export side is beef. And of course, maize has always been one of our key products that we are exporting. The nice thing about it is also that our markets are diverse. I mean, we're exporting this year. We anticipate that South Africa's agricultural exports will hit a record level of about $11 billion. The highest level we've seen on our books was in 2018. That was $10.6 billion. But I think we are well on the way, and we are nicely diversified, 40% in the African continent, 35% or so within the Europe side, and also Asia. We are growing in that space. So what we need, though, going forward, we want to see increased export opportunities in China, in India, Japan, and Bangladesh are just some of the markets that are on our end. Of course, the Middle East is one of the important markets to focus on.
Wandile, while we're doing well, you did mention two things that could influence our progress. Logistics seem to be a problem, and erratic weather in the future. What are we doing to mitigate the damage that could do?
I mean, in South Africa alone, there's limited scope for us that we can do on the weather side. But what has been positive of the past few years is that scientists here at home and globally are investing a lot of work on saying how do they breed seeds that are shorter growing varieties, which means they take less time to grow than traditional seeds, but also they are somewhat a bit more tolerant to harsh climatic conditions. So we have been blessed with 3 years in a row of favorable rainfalls. We are again in a La Nina season, which means that we are looking at a brilliant 2022 in agricultural performance. But we haven't seen such a situation since about 2008 or so. So we fear that the next cycles might be dryness. And in those periods, obviously, we have to try to be resilient. And the farmers are putting all kinds of measures to try at least to cope in that. When as far as the logistics, I mean, that's a big one. You heard the finance minister talking about interventions that needs to be made on rail and also on the shipping lines. And I think working with Transnet and checking investment opportunities and increasing our efficiency at our ports is going to be key. Like I said at the start, we are now exporting about half of what we produce. But if we're expanding our production, that means we have to have capabilities to push some of these commodities out of South Africa so that the growers in the Republic can remain at least at the profitable levels. And I think that logistics space is one of the crucial one in addition to the climate change broader story.
Wandile, what's this boom in the citrus industry done for jobs in our country, not just the citrus industry, agribusiness in general? How much of a dent has this made in our unemployment figures?
I mean, huge dent. If in a country like South Africa, you can say that because we have roughly, as of the second quarter of this year, roughly around about 862,000 people working in agriculture, and that was up 8% on a year-on-year basis. So in about 2 hours from now, we will be hearing from Statistics South Africa as to what in the third quarter, where are the employment opportunities at? And we think that agriculture will still be at a decent place. But of course, we must always remember that the third quarter is somewhat a quieter period because in agriculture, if you segment labor, you find that roughly 40% or so is seasonal. So there's always that wobbly in the employment numbers. But I think the bottom line story is that agriculture is contributing to employment and employment of those that are less skills and really in need of the opportunities sector down.
Wandile, thanks a lot for your time. You've brought a lot of good news, and we definitely need some good news in these times. Wandile Sihlobo, Chief Economist with the Agricultural Business Chamber of South Africa.